Welcome back. This is another week of Adults Only. We can be seen every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. I want to ask my big brother, how you feeling today? How you doing?
Oh, I'm ready, man. Last week I was kind of under the weather, but I'm ready to fire away today because I got to ask you a question. First
Okay.
of all, Chaz, here we are a month later as you look at the screen saying overcoming mental illnesses in the African American community, part 4. So that means we've been doing this for a month. Aren't you tired of talking about this yet or what?
No, I really am enjoying it because, for once again, a lot of the African Americans, us blacks, we suffer from this. I feel like the most, and I'm not forgetting the other races that deal with it, but it just appears us blacks deal with it a lot. And yeah, I'm having a good time with it. With this whole month of just dissecting this information.
Oh, that's good. Well, let's define it, and then we'll see who's in the house, and we'll
Okay,
get going because you know how we do it. We don't wait around for no one. If you show up late, you just late to the party. So,
that's
Chad,
right.
what is mental illness basically?
Mental illness is diagnosable mental disorders which involve significant changes in thinking, emotion, and behavior. I'll let
And
you take this
I
one.
gotta say something on that because a lot of us act a certain way, and we don't realize why do we act this way. But if we examine that, we'll find out that there are some things going on in our lives that we need to adjust, and some of them are mental disorders. But we don't like to talk about them, so we sugarcoat those things, and this is why it's important for us to talk about this. And we also talked last week about some strategies for overcoming mental illnesses. Instead of us complaining all the time about it, Chaz, we're giving people some tips as to basic things they can do, practical things they can do to try to help them when it comes to that, because we all need help with that. So let's see who's in the house today, Chaz, because I know you love this kind of stuff. So here we go.
We got Sister Marie. She says Hotep Kings. We appreciate her for logging in. Sister Barbara comments Hotep Brothers with emoji. We appreciate her as well. Sister Mashonda says hello. We appreciate her.
Okay, Chaz,
And we appreciate it.
let's get into it. One of the strategies that we can have, and we touched upon it last week, but let's talk about it a little bit more. And this is a strategy that we're talking about for overcoming mental illnesses because many of us know that our families struggle and suffer with that. But we
Mm-hmm.
like to hide behind our cell phones or hide in the house and act like nothing's going on. But what about this one, Chaz?
A, social support, building and maturing supportive relationship with friends, family, or other trusted individuals. And I'll put on my notes here, if you can, once you get out of work or after you get done going at home, fixing dinner, what have you, set aside time where, when I say meet up with some guys or women that you know that are clean cut. Go
Mhm.
out to the park, take a walk, go to the movies, watch something clean.
Yeah.
But when I say meet up, this is where the dilemma is, brother. When I say meet up, don't meet up to go and do the alcohol and do the pills and do the dope. I'm
Yeah,
talking about
yeah,
meet up
yeah,
and doing something that's positive because I'm
yeah.
telling you this, brother. When we have these issues, we run to other things like alcohol, things like that, which does nothing but make the problem significantly worse.
And you're absolutely right, Chaz, because the building, supporting relationships is what we lack. A lot of us, many of our family members, we don't even speak to one another. We isolate ourselves. We don't want to be bothered. And so that in itself is a mental disorder when you don't want to be around someone, and we have normalized that. You're a sick man, and so am I, if this is the mindset that we continue to use when it comes to that. Now, Chaz, I know you said something about in about maybe 3 or 4 minutes. There's another mental illness that we don't talk about, but we need to talk about it because a lot of us deal with it and we don't know what to call it. But I think you want to take it away. But before we get to that, what is this one all about?
Letter B, maintain healthy life structures, establish routines, instruction daily, including regular sleep and drink plenty of water. Now, when
Okay.
you're not getting enough sleep, this is
Uh-huh.
very important. You're more cranky, you're more
Mm-hmm.
agitated, you're more
Mm-hmm.
irritated, you're more likely to fire off and just explode on people. And I would say, if you can, getting at least 8 hours of sleep per day is healthy
Mm-hmm.
because when you're not, brother, it really affects your mood. And I will also say, too, because I found this in my little studies that I did, people who don't drink enough water,
Okay.
it says that these people are at a high risk of developing
Oh.
depression and
Mm.
anxiety. And with this combination, this zaps brain energy. So
Wow.
once again, this is why we're sticklers for water, because when you don't, you see depression and anxiety start to come up, and this is a terrible thing to deal with.
And I'm glad you said that, brother, because this maintaining healthy life structures, that's the key word. Maintain it. Don't start it and then quit it and never go back to it. We have to maintain healthy life structures. We have to establish routines, like maybe every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, go for a walk. Maybe Tuesday and Thursday, we'll do something like you said, and keep a routine daily water regimen in our lives.
Yes.
Stay away from certain things, because
Yes.
this is practical stuff that we should be talking about. Regular sleep. Some of us try to burn the candle at both ends.
What's
This is
that?
why we look so old. We don't want to go to sleep. We want to stay up all night. We want to do things. We want to watch TV. We want to eat. We want to do things all night and then try to work on those little amount of hours of sleep. And this is why, like you said, we're cranky, and that turns into a mental disorder, because now no one wants to be around us because we're so mean-spirited, man.
Yes. Letter C. Learn coping skills. This can help individuals recognize they can function with themselves and function around those who have mental issues. I'll let you take this one, brother.
I gotta have this. Chazz, you're gonna have issues until you leave this earth. So am I, and so is everyone else. The key is, how do we cope with these issues, you see? And this is why the mental disorders are at a very high level. We don't know how to cope with these issues. Every little thing that happens to us, every small thing, we're bent out of shape, you see. And so I'm trying to say, and you're trying to say, that we can function with ourselves and with others, because there are some people who have mental issues, and we have to learn, how do we cope with them? What do we do with a person who is depressed all the time? What do we do with a person who is stressed all the time? What do we do with a person who has anxiety all the time? So these are deep discussions, I should say, that a lot of us are afraid to have, because we don't like to be challenged with these discussions. And these are the discussions that basically help us. And I know for a fact, you want me to quit rambling and jump to a video that you sent me because you want to take it away. And so I'm going to see if I can come into this room and show us a video that you desperately want to at least share with us about something that's going on in our lives. And what it is, it's all about people that hoard, Chazz. They hoard. Here we go.
Where's the house we used to live in? Oh my God, this is horrible. I just cannot believe it.
Big rat. Big rat.
This is not the promise you gave. Your word is worth nothing. Okay, I lie.
It's junky, dude. Like, it's embarrassing.
That's what you're doing. You're doing nothing.
Consumption is a serious addiction for her.
There needs to be tough love shown.
I can't open it.
If we can't solve this problem, I'm going to have to make a call to Child Protective Services.
It's not as important as my kids.
I know.
My name is Ruby, and everybody calls me Mama. I think I'm the worst kind of hoarder. Must have lost a pair of shoes in there. I can't move in the house. The only way I get in it is to do the side step. Turn sideways and scoot my feet side to side. The living room serves no purpose except for stuff. The kitchen has no purpose except to take over the stuff that the living room can't handle. At first, I was sort of keeping control of it, but then at one point, I don't know when, it just overwhelmed me that when I went in to try to move stuff, it wouldn't let me move it.
You can stop it right there, brother.
I'm 20 years old. I was raised by Ruby. She's my great grandmother. She adopted me and my brother. He was 9 months old. I was 4 years old.
I'm Jeremy. I'm 17 years old. Almost been a hoarder.
Now, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can. Let me stop it now.
Okay.
Wow, Chazz. What was that I just saw, man?
I have a lot to say about that. Now, once again, we touch on a lot of mental disorders with people who are, like you said, depressed, angry, that take drugs, alcohol, things like that. But I think this is another disorder that a lot of people don't touch on. Now, once again, we touched on this last week, and it's just a lot of people in America that you see on this TV screen that are just hoarding things at a high rate. They can't even go in, brother. That sister said she had to sidestep just to get in her refrigerator to get around the house. Now, let me ask you this. If you keep inhaling all that mold, all those chemicals and that bacteria, that's going to play on your mind. That's going to have you probably seeing things and have you going crazy. And these are topics that we have to, because I'm pretty sure we all know somebody in our life. It may not be hoarding to that level, but we know someone who hoards. Brother, this is a mental disorder that needs to be discussed. That woman couldn't even get to her refrigerator.
Yeah, you know what? Now, I am definitely ignorant to this. I know people hoard, but to that degree, that is a sickness, you see. And this is why I get excited about these kind of broadcasts, because we try to bring out every facet of a subject. And a lot of us don't want to accept the fact that many of us, we have some psychological problems to want to keep things that we can't even use for years. And so this is why we have to tell people, we've got to let this stuff go, Chazz. We really have to let it go.
Yeah, and just real quick, the people I'm pretty sure who probably have seen that show, but if there are some who haven't, they even have people, brother, that these people conditions are so bad that their neighbors are calling the health departments and making them move out of their homes or apartments because they're not cleaning this stuff up. And they give them some days to clean it out. But, brother, you should see these brothers and sisters. When these people come out to their house, they're fighting the people saying, no, they want to keep it. No, I want to have it. And it's just a mental disorder that it's just sad. It's sad to see.
Okay, good. And here's something I want to read. Then I'll let you talk about it because I'll let you have the next one. But this one says, quit stigmatizing or making mental illness is something that's crazy. Mental illness is what some people experience in life. It's not necessarily that person is crazy. It's just that person is struggling and they're dealing with some things that are affecting them mentally, psychologically, emotionally. And instead of us trying to be there to help them and to hear what they're going through, we stigmatize it and we don't want to talk about it because we say, oh, that person is crazy. No, they're not crazy. They're dealing with some issues. And this is why I'm pleading to those people who are struggling with mental illnesses. You're not crazy. I'm not crazy. These are things that we go through as people. So why do I want to ask you this as a people, Chazz.
Okay.
Why do we like to make fun and make jokes and stigmatize this to the degree that a lot of us don't want to talk about it because now we're afraid to say, yeah, I have some emotional problems. Yeah, I have some psychological problems, but I'm working on those things. But instead, we don't talk about them because we don't want people to think we're crazy.
Right. And I'll just take it a step further, brother. I wanted to just highlight this. All the people that you see that's homeless on the street, some of them do have a drug issue. I will admit that, brother. But some of them, I don't think that all of them were always drugs. Sometimes they could have been going out. Somebody put some in their food, and then you see them hollering and screaming. And like you said, brother, we sit back and we laugh. Oh, look at that loony person. He's hollering in broad daylight. No, every person that's on the street is not mentally ill because of drugs. There are a lot of factors that could have happened to that individual where they just lose it. So, and I think we make fun of them a lot, and we are hard-hearted towards these people, which they're human beings at the end of the day as well.
Yeah, and it's just like with us, I mean, we can find ourselves today in our right frame of mind, but something can happen to us, at the snap of a finger that can really mess with our psychological makeup. And so this is why these types of discussions must be had. But see, my issue, Chazz, and I've always said this, is with the hypocrite. who knows that we're struggling, but they won't do anything about it. They know that they need help, but they won't seek help. They know that people need to be there for them, but yet they won't reach out to them. And then we won't reach out to the people that we know are struggling because we don't want to talk about this. But I know for a fact you want to talk about this next one.
Letter E. Have serious discussions about mental health with our children. Don't be afraid to discuss mental health issues with our children. This is a good way to inform our children about them. Yeah, I would say probably about at the age of 7 or 8, let them know about these things so that way when they're out in the real world, they're not blindsided by these things. They're not caught off guard. You want them to be alert. And here's the thing, teach them at an early age not to make fun of them. They're humans just like us, no matter what their condition is. Mm-hmm. But just because they may be foaming at the mouth or hollering or irate, teach our children, this is a person that's messed up. This could be you, like you said a few minutes ago, bro. This could be me or you in 12 years. We don't know.
Exactly.
So quit always demonizing these people.
Yeah, and we also have to look at the discussions because this says have serious discussions. See, we can't play with this any longer. You see, we talk to our children about some of everything except for the right thing. We should be talking to them about stress. We should be talking to them about depression. We should be talking to them about all of these mental illnesses being bipolar, the antisocial disorders. We should have these discussions with them, but instead we rather buy them a tablet. Let's talk today, Chazz.
Okay.
We rather buy them a tablet. We rather buy them a phone and put them in front of that thing that they are obsessed with. And then when they get older and struggle with some issues, they don't know how to cope with it because their mother or father, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, or significant other, or those people in their lives didn't have a serious, and I mean a serious discussion when we say, when people are stressed and people are having issues with being bipolar and all that, anxiety, they need to know that this is a part of life. And if this should happen to you, what should you do? And this is why people don't want to talk about this, Chazz, because these are the serious discussions. We rather talk about comedy. We rather talk about sports. We rather talk about entertainment. We rather talk about politics. We rather talk about religion. We rather talk about family. But we don't want to sit down and have what we call serious discussions about mental health with our children. And then most of these African Americans that are committing suicide, maybe we won't commit suicide because we've already been warned and we know how to deal with these issues that we face as a people.
And I'll take it a step further, brother. Let me just ask you this, and I'm just being using logic here. What do you do as an individual when everybody you turn to is laughing or ignoring you or not taking you seriously and you're asking for help? What does an individual do when they've been dealing with this for 10 or 12 years? I mean, what do you do?
You have to be persistent. You have to be strong. And even when you want to give up, you cannot give up. You see, this is a testament to one's ability to withstand the test of time, because there's many cases and many instances where people will make fun of you or they won't try to help you. But this is where we have to take it upon ourselves to say, hey, no matter what people say about me, I'm going to remain faithful to trying to work through this. It may take some time. We may go around the corner. We may go up and down valleys. We may go over mountains. We may go through hills. We may go up the rough side of the mountain, but we have to remain persistent. And this is the message that a lot of people aren't hearing, because many people are telling us to just give up and go with our feelings and our emotions and do things to ourselves that causes serious damages for the rest of our lives, instead of saying things like, you're going to have to remain steadfast to this issue until this thing is dealt with in such a way that you can cope with life, because life is going to always bring out issues. The problem is many of us get fed up at a certain age, and then we have to take medicine because we don't know how to deal with people and we don't know how to deal with ourselves. So I'm glad you asked me that question. I've been wanting to say that for the longest, but now I've got an opportunity to get that off my chest, because we've got to tell people to remain truthful to themselves. Because if you don't remain truthful to yourself, Chazz, and I don't remain truthful to myself, no one else is going to do it for us.
Yeah, and I just want to say real quick before I move on to the next one, and I'm not taking up for these people, brother, but I really do think that is why a lot of people are checking out and quitting early, because they just don't have anything to turn to. Now, I'm not taking up for them. That's just what I believe is going
And I
on.
want to, we don't have to go to this point yet, because until we get through combing that last issue, we can still talk about it. But I want to be honest with you, Chazz. Many of us, we play too much. We are old as dirt. And I mean that literally. We are old as dirt, man. And yet we can't sit down and be serious. You see,
Right.
We don't know how to gauge the time. We don't know how to talk to our children, not just our children, our loved ones. We want to sit around and act like everything is good, and it's all not good in the neighborhood. And this is why we have issues, because we don't want to realize that many of us have problems, and we're going to have to be there for one another. And if no one is there for you, no one is there for me, we have to be strong. And if somebody's listening to this now where you're going through this, and it seems like no one cares, it seems like the world has turned its back against you, we're telling you to remain faithful and get yourself some help. Even if you have to reach out to Chazz and I, we're not psychologists, we're not counselors, but we can direct you to a place where you can get help, because this is nothing to be ashamed of. And I'm getting worked up because I have a sense and a feeling that a lot of us are playing games when we know we are affected with this, because if we're not, there's somebody in our family, and we know this, somebody in our family is messed up right now. And instead of us trying to help them, we're too busy trying to act like they're normal.
Exactly. And on to your next point on the bottom of the screen, it says letter F. Listen when someone is reaching out to you about their mental health issues. Everything isn't a joke. Yes, and we just touched on that, and I'll retouch it up again. If you have a relative or a coworker or a friend or someone that's coming to you and they're saying, brother, I'm having some issues at home. I'm having issues with my children. I'm having issues with a coworker. Teach them in a kind way. You know what? I'm here for you, brother. I promise this is between me and you. You can count on me to hold your information. I'm not going to go out and run my mouth. Tell the whole world. I'm going to keep this in. And listen, you got my number. If you need me, contact me, text me. I'm always available. But we don't know how to hold water, because I tell you, tell that brother. Yep, I'm not gonna say nothing, bruh. And within 10 minutes, we texting, calling, laughing, snickering, talking about how mentally ill he is. And it's like, when someone is coming to you pleading for help, the last thing you can do is make fun of them. Be there for that individual. In fact, you want them to tell you, brother, ever since me and you had that conversation, I was going to commit suicide, but you really helped me want to stay on this earth. That's something that you should reach to do.
Good teaching, Chazz. Good teaching. You know, what happened to the days when we would do what that first word says? Because I want to talk about that first word.
Okay.
You touched upon it now, but I want to talk about that very first word on this screen. And the word says, listen. We don't like to listen, Chazz, many of us. We're too busy running our mouths thinking that we know everything. Right. We don't know what it means to listen. Listen doesn't mean to just hear someone say something so we can sprout out at the mouth to let them know we know what they're talking about. Listen means to really empathize with that person. Put yourself in that person's shoe or position, although you could never do it, but empathize with that person, sympathize with that person, and really listen to that person's heart. And then compassion comes in, and then empathy comes in, and then sacrifice comes in. And this is why it's hard to get this through our thick skulls. Everything isn't a joke. We watch so many comedy shows. Everything nowadays, Chazz, is funny. If somebody hurts themselves, it's funny. If somebody falls off the side of a building, instead of us saying, you know, let's get help, we're snickering or taping it. Women are silly. We men are silly. We don't want to sit down and be adults about it. We always playing. We're always joking. We're always laughing. And this is not a laughing matter. So when are we going to act like adults, Chazz? When are we going to be grown men and grown women and listen when someone is reaching out to us about their mental issues, as opposed to doing what you just said, running our gums like a bad refrigerator, can't hold water, or a faucet that's leaking and never shuts off? When are we going to do this, Chazz? And I am passionate right now because it's too many people of us that's everything is a joke. We're in our 40s, 50s, 60s, and we can't have a serious discussion because the first time you mentioned, Brother Jah, I'm dealing with some anxiety right now. Instead of me listening to you and trying to empathize and try to steer you in the right direction, I'm gonna make a joke out of it. You know, I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna say something off the cuff.
Yeah, and now I'll just take it a step further. What I'm getting ready to say, it may not be popular, but I just think I need to go ahead and shoot forward, okay?
Okay.
The only reason we will take this stuff serious is when we get a terrible, terrible phone call at 2 or 3 in the morning saying that Brother John has just committed suicide. Then we serious. Then we want to go to the funeral, nod it up. Then we want to go to the funeral, say all these good words about this brother. But like they said, when that man was alive, you didn't care about that brother. But when he dies, you're going to go to the funeral, knotted up, looking fresh, but you didn't care about him when he was alive.
Yeah, this isn't a joke, Chazz. And I'm glad that we don't have many comments tonight, because sometimes we have a lot of comments and we can't get down into this serious discussion, but we digging deep tonight. And so don't worry about if you don't comment. You can stay on your phone and look at this broadcast, and hopefully we all can learn together that mental issues, these issues that we have in the African American community, is ravaging us. It's killing us. It's raking us over the coals. And I keep saying this now. Most of the sermons that we hear, they should be about mental issues, because most of the people in the churches, men and women alike, have some psychological issues that we don't want to talk about. We want to pray about it and act like it's gone one Sunday. And as soon as we get home, it's back in the saddle again. Many of us spiritual gurus, we talk about ideologies, we talk about nature, we're talking about energy, we're talking about Uncle Johnson, and we talk about all these things, Chazz. But when it all boils down, we're saying that we are some sick people and we need help. And that's why people don't want to watch broadcasts like this, because no one wants to be challenged today. Everybody wants to be told you're doing well, everything is great, don't worry about life, and just keep living. And at the end of the day, everybody's going to end up living happily ever after. And that's a lie straight from you know where.
I want to just touch on 2 parts real quick. And I think I don't know, I showed you one video, but I think we need to talk about it, brother. And I know everybody's seen this. There was an incident that happened at a church in PA about a few weeks ago, where a man in broad daylight went into a church service with a pistol. Now, I'm glad nothing happened. I'm glad that they got the gunman to the floor and they hugged him and talked to him well. Brother, these people, if that's not mentally ill to go into a church service, try to open fire, this is terrible. Now, that's a lucky one. There was another incident. It happened, I want to say, in Australia or Sydney. And I showed you this one, brother. This brother got his eye stabbed out on a sermon. Wow. And this isn't mental issues, brother. This is some heavy stuff.
See, this discussion is not for everybody. See, we don't want these kinds of discussions. We want to watch game shows on TV. You know, we want to watch a man kick a ball, catch a ball, throw a ball, hit a ball. See, we want to watch somebody yodel with their voice. See, we want to get out of reality and get into this fictitious world, this fantasy world where everything is great. No one dies. Everybody is well, when that's not the reality in our own lives. And that's why we have to do these kinds of broadcasts, whether people want to hear it or not.
They have to be talked about. Exactly, brother. A letter G. Encourage open dialogue concerning mental health, and not for judgment or condemnation. I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, open dialogue is where you and I sit down and I tell you, Chazz, I'm dealing with this thing that they're calling bipolar. You ask me, well, what do you mean, Jahi? And then I say, well, Chazz, 1 minute I'm happy and excited. And then the next second I'm down, I'm feeling really low. And then you say, well, what happens after that? So I go through a cycle. Then the next few hours, I'm excited, you see. But then an hour after that, I'm feeling really low. See, so I'm being open about what I'm dealing with. I'm telling you, when I'm anxiety ridden, I'm telling you that I worry. I bite my fingernails. I'm thinking about things that hasn't even happened yet, man. And yet I'm acting as if it happened. And so now I'm dealing with this anxiety. I'm stressed out. My hair is falling out. I'm picking at my fingers. I'm pulling at my face. I'm constantly looking out the window, worrying about something that I cannot control. So I'm being open with you, man. I'm being honest with you. And so this is what I mean by having open dialogue. Let people see, these are uncomfortable things, because 9 times out of 10, when you open up to me and start that, after 3 minutes, I'm ready to go. I don't want to hear all that stuff, man. I'm tired of all that. You know, all you do is complain. All you do is whine. You know, everybody got problems. This is how sick we are as a people. Yeah. Because so we run to these buildings, and I'm not coming down on anybody's faith or religion or spirituality, But we all run to these buildings every Sunday, and we do these gatherings, and in our hearts, we know that we have some problems, but we make people think that we're good, Chazz, because I don't want to show you in a building when they come forward and say, does anyone need prayer? Instead of me coming down there and lying, I should grab that mic and say, listen, y'all, prayer can't help me, but I need y'all to know that I am a worry wart, you know, because you can start that, well, and all you got to do is hit no. You got to do something about that. And so do I. And so instead of being a hypocrite, want everybody to think that you can put your worry in an envelope, throw it in a trash basket at a building, and then it's all gone. And as soon as you get home, the very thing you threw in a trash can is sitting right in your lap.
You said a handful, and it's like you said, we always want to pray these things away if you are a Christian, or hoping that some person, you know, takes it away. But we have to get off of our butts and do something about some of this, because it's not going to just drop in our lap. As we move on to the next one, letter H, realize that some entire families need help due to their traumatic past. This is a serious statement. And I want to touch on this in the blacks, and I keep harping on the blacks. A lot of us as grown up, we've seen our parents fighting. We've seen our sisters and brothers getting whooped, beat, abandoned, neglected. Some of our parents neglected us so they can go out to the club. They didn't want to see us for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and we grow up, brother. That is mental illness, and it's not just one or two siblings, brother. This is a whole bloodline that's filled with this crap.
Yeah, this is heavy.
It's hard. It's hard, brother.
It really is
something that needs to be discussed.
Chazz, you dealing tonight. I've seen you on many broadcasts, but tonight you in your feelings in a good way. You are expressing nothing but the unadulterated truth, the naked truth. And this is beautiful, because this is teaching me, is helping me to realize that I must look at my own life first and clean out what's in my own closet before I try to look in your closet. But I want to look at this point H again and see, this is some of the most heaviest discussions that we've ever had, because it says this. It says realize. That's the first thing. Realize this. Here it is. That some entire families, you mean to tell me that the male, yes, the female, yes, the kids, yes, the whole entire family needs help. And why do they need help, Chazz? They need help because due to their traumatic, I should say, past, something happened in the past to that family, and they never got over it. And so they're still struggling with it today, you see. And so that's why that last part shows this, my friend, is a serious statement. And I don't know what it's going to take for us as a people to realize that a lot of our whole families are sick as they come. And yet we don't address that issue.
And not just taking a step further, this is no pot shot at the alcoholics or the people who smoke, brother. But I've heard in some instances where a whole bloodline is riddled with alcoholism. The father had it, the son got it, his son's got it. And it's just a whole bloodline filled with alcoholism, and it just never stops. And they can find no one in that bloodline to break it. It just keeps going on and on and on. And it's just something that I question, will this cycle ever be broken?
Well, the cycle will be broken when one of those people stop it and begin to get help. And this is why we're telling people that may be in that situation, and you and I included. We're saying that we have to look within our hearts. And so this broadcast is a mirror. And what it does is it shows us all ourselves. You see yourself in this broadcast. I see myself in this broadcast. And hopefully those who are watching it, they can see themselves in the mirror. And so this says, look at what you see. Do you like what you see? Now, if you like what you see, then you keep doing it that way. If you don't like what you see, if I don't like what I see, then I have to do something about it. It's incumbent upon me to do something about that which I see that I don't like. But see, unfortunately, too many of us don't have these kinds of discussions. And so we're saying, you mean to tell me, Chazz, that an entire family could need help? And the answer is unequivocally, yes. But see, we don't want to be honest. So we, like you say, get behind the people's back. And instead of saying, you know what, maybe your whole family need to go get this thing checked out. So we just want to pick one person out because they show us more, as opposed to an entire family. And that's why we as a people have issues, Chazz.
It is. We got a comment, Sister Barbara comment. She says, what about when one argues with a person daily about anything? Is this mental abuse? And would you say a person who is arguing has a mental disorder? I'll let you take this one and I'll piggyback.
I want to take it one question at a time. She says, what about when one argues, I should say. What about when one argues with a person daily about anything? Okay, sometimes that has nothing to do with one's mentality. This is just a person who is bitter, a person who is mean-spirited, a person who is angry, a person who has not dealt with things internally. They don't necessarily have to have a mental issue. But again, she says, is this mental issue, is this mental abuse? It's mental abuse to that person's self and to the other person. And then she says, would you say this person who's arguing have a mental disorder? I would say that that person who's arguing need to check out their emotions. They need to check out their anger. They need to check out what is making me so bitter all the time. Why am I griping all the time? Why am I always bent towards arguing? So a lot of this may not be mental issues. It could be something in that person's life or that person's heart that they have not dealt with, and they're just as sane as you and I. But because they haven't dealt with that issue of themselves, these things that's going on a daily basis, it has led up to where they're just mean as a rattlesnake. And that person needs to find out within themselves, why can't I ask you one question and you fly off the handle? Why is everything so combative? So I think we need to look at one's heart. And then secondly, this could be one, but that person has to realize that this is something that we all have to address, Chazz. And that's a beautiful challenge, but we have to realize that. And that's what's going on in some of our lives.
Exactly. Well said. Letter I. Identify things in your/my life they may add to our mental disorders.
Chazz. If you
I know you want this, I'll let you take it.
I do. You see, my questions, and I know your questions. Right. You know my statements, and I know your statements. And you know darn well that this is right up my alley. Okay. So what this is saying is this. Instead of acting like we're just sick and we don't know why, you and I can identify those things that's leading up to this. And normally it's the children. I got to say it.
Come on with it.
Normally it's not somebody from without. Yes, we may have a coworker, a boss, or some kind of deadline we're running up against every now and then. But normally this is right in our lap. It's our children. It's the bills that we go through. It's the people that we want in our lives that we don't have. It's being angry because we wanted something and we didn't get it. It's something about our childhood past. It's something about people who are around us that keeps causing stress. And so we need to identify those things first instead of acting like, I don't know why I'm like this, Chazz. I just woke up one day and I became You are a lie through your teeth, and the truth are not in you. So we know what these things are. And a lot of times it's people, man. And we don't want to be honest and say, Chazz, you know what? You are causing me stress. You are causing me anxiety. I'm going to deal with me because I'm not going to let this lead to a mental disorder. So I'm identifying it's you, man, that's causing these things, as opposed to acting like, well, life is so rosy and everything is good. See, and we know what they are, but because of how so ignorant we act, meaning that we act like we don't know, because ignorance is nothing other than people don't know, but we act like we don't know. Chazz, you know what's in your life that's causing these mental disorders. And I know what's in my life. And all you that are watching this, you can act like you don't know what happened to you, but you know what has happened to you. And that's why we have to be honest about these discussions. We have to be forthright with these discussions.
Yeah, and I just highlight, like you said, honest. And you said this too, and I just want to piggyback it. We identify some of the things that's wrong with us, but we're so dismissive. Instead of saying, you know what, I do have an addiction, or I do have a problem with this certain area, we sugarcoat it. Oh, it's not that bad, or it's not hurting anybody, or no, it's not really tearing my health down, so it couldn't be that bad. No, first thing is first. Identify that you do have an issue and accept it, and stop sugarcoating it or minimize it or trying to hide it under a rug. Face it head on.
And then do something about it. Don't just say it, because a lot of us say, I have a problem. I have a problem. Yeah, I have a problem. I have a problem. But we never do anything about it. And this is why we have to talk like this, because listen, when you become an adult, of course, there's always growth. But what I keep harping on that maybe people don't realize, because I'm not going to let this go.
Okay.
We have too many adults that claim to be adults, senior citizens. We have too many of us who act like kids. And that's a part that we have not matured in. And because we don't want to look at what is in my life, I don't need to go to you. I don't need to go to a psychiatrist. I don't need to lay on no one's couch and tell them my problems. I need to do something about my problem, you see. And instead of us dealing with those issues, we always want to blame somebody else. What kids do. I teach kids every day. And every time I check one of my students, they always blame someone else, but I give them a pass. Because the kids, I always give them a pass. But us old, I almost said it, but us old age, us old decrepit old people, we still doing the same thing. Well, I do this because so-and-so did this. I do. No, you do this because we choose to do this. And that's why we will never grow up, because we're just childish. Try to have a serious conversation with an adult and see them within 5 minutes, they're going to make it into a joke. They're not going to be serious. They're going to talk about things that are unrelated. And so you got to keep them focused. And this is a part of our upbringing. And this is what every last one of us, you, me, and all of us need to work on that.
Letter J, know that everyone isn't well that we associate with. This isn't a perfect world. Yes, just because they talk and they may not be, like I said, foaming at the mouth, or they may not be hollering or screaming. They could be talking just like me and you, and they have some psychological issues. And if you pick up on that, it's nothing to shame them about. Don't go around beating them up about it. You don't even have to bring it up to anybody else. And if it's something that you know, you can pull them to my side. And like I said, pull them to a side and ask them about it. Don't do it in front of other people, because that's going to turn into nothing but a fist fight or an argument that shouldn't be had. But there's a lot that's that looks well, but they aren't. And especially, I would say, in the addiction area.
And this is why I'm telling you with the media, and you normally are on the media, but I'm taking your part today, because the media, we've watched so many movies, and so many movies always have a happy ending.
Yeah.
It's always a happy ending. And so we have started living our lives like that. So we think that everyone that we associate with is well. We think that everyone we talk to in our family and our friends and coworkers and all that, we think they're sane. We think this is a perfect world. But yet, behind closed doors, Chazz, I'm going to say something now. I'm going to say something. Okay.
Say it.
Behind closed doors, we're popping more pills than Skittles. Yes, we are. Yes. Behind closed doors, Chazz, these medicine chests, if you can look at my medicine chest, if I can look at your medicine chest, if we can look at our people's medicine chest, we have so many drugs in this closet, because this is showing us that we have some issues, Chazz. And the need, I mean, and many of us, we don't want to come clean and say, I'm sick and I'm working on it. So we take the pills behind closed doors, and then we go out into a world where we think that everybody thinks we're sane. See, this is not a perfect world. And like I said, one sign of it is when you come over to somebody's house, you ask them, how you doing? They always say, I'm good. You say, no, let me check your medicine cabinet. When you, Chazz, I promise you, when you check my medicine cabinet, you're going to say, wow. Because you're going to see all kinds of pills. And yet these people on this broadcast, they know I'm telling the truth, because now they got more. You're talking about a dope dealer. The dope dealer has drugs that they're selling at a great magnitude. And we got a lot of pills that we popping every day, Chazz.
Yeah, and here's my question. Now, don't get me wrong. Every now and then when you go to the doctor, there are things that they may prescribe to us that we need to take for, let's say, a week or two. But my problem, brother, is the abuse. You know that you're abusing that medication. And the doctors know it too, because when they give you that pill at CVS or what have you, and you're supposed to have those pills taken within a month. You come back within a week or even 5 days asking for a refill, and they say, ma'am, sir, I'm sorry, I can't do that. They know you're abusing those pills, but it's the abuse is what I'm talking about.
I got to stop you and tell you this now, because this is something that I've been wanting to say for maybe 4 years, but now I'm going to say it now. Here it is.
Okay.
We sit up on this broadcast, and people watch broadcasts. They always talking about the dope dealer. They always talk about the dope man in the community.
Yeah.
But the doctor is the dope man now, you see.
Yeah,
the pharmaceutical places, these are the drug houses.
yeah.
And so, yes, you know I'm telling the truth. So instead of us looking at this thing like that, we get angry, and we should, when the dope man is in the community. We get angry when the pharmaceuticals or the dope people that we go to their houses to get the drugs.
Yeah.
But what's the difference in us going to these places, messing up our livers, messing up our lungs, messing up our kidneys, messing up our insides, when, like you said, some of the stuff we don't need, some of it we don't need, but we done got hooked on it. And so we're modern day junkies trying to deal with mental issues that medicine will never help us with.
And I'll take it a step further. What's equivalent to the drug dealer when you call him up and you say, hey, man, I need such and such. He says, I'm out. When your CVS or Walgreens, when they call you and they say, your prescription is ready, and you get to CVS and they say, we made a mistake, it's not going to be ready till tomorrow. Brother, we flip out on them in that doggone driveway. We lose it because we need that fix. We're itching for it. We've been thinking about it all day. We're craving for it. We're thirsty for it. And when they tell us that doggone drive-through that they don't have it, you got to come back tomorrow, or you got to come back in 40 minutes, brother, we just snap. That's all I can say.
Forgive me for this, but it's true. A queen says this. Yep, got my Skittles, and she's laughing. It's telling the truth, because most of us adults, everybody should say that. That's watching this. That's an adult, because this cabinet that we have is full of dope, man. It's full of drugs, but we don't look at it that way. And so
it really is.
This is why I'm saying this next point. It says reduce as much stress as you can. As Sister Sharon says, hey, but it says reduce as much stress, mess, and nonsense in your life. This could be the reason that mental disorders, they live inside of us. Yes. Why do we? I'm gonna ask you a question now. Why won't we reduce this stress, this mess, and this nonsense? What is wrong with us?
Because I think a lot of us, brother, at a young age, we've been taught to be tough. We've been taught to you don't back down from nothing. You a weak link. We've been taught to just take everything on, and if you complain or if you gripe about it, you're considered as less than or weak. So we try to take all this on. We try to think we're macho. We try to think we have all the answers. We think that everything is good. And instead of saying, you know what, this is nonsense, I'm not going to do this anymore. Most men and women, we take all this stuff in, and it builds up throughout the years, and it just adds more detriment to our health. Stress, all this crap that we're going through on a day-to-day basis, instead of us saying, you know what, this is stressful, I'm not doing this anymore. We put it away, we try to act like it's not there, and we take and hold and hoard all this stuff in, and before you know it, we're on blood pressure pills, you got high headaches. It's just a terrible, terrible thing that's a lot of us deal with, brother.
Yeah, two brothers that's talking now, that's been talking about overcoming mental illnesses in the African American community. Why? Because they're just everywhere around us. They're in our families, they're in our friends, they're in our loved ones, they're even in our enemies, you see. And so this is why this K point is so important. We have to reduce as much stress, as much mess, and much nonsense in our lives. For example, if you're dealing with some dumb stuff going on in your life now, Chazz, and you tell me, I can't do anything about that. So I'm not going to plug myself into your nonsense, because now I've put myself in a position to where this stress I put on, it's like I put it in my own life. I put it in my own front yard. I put it in my lap. And now I got to live with this nonsense, because most of us don't see that there's a point of demarcation. We have to be able to draw lines, man.
Yeah.
And I can talk to you till the cows come home. But when you keep complaining about your same old problems, when you keep on doing the same old silly things, when you keep on acting the way you're acting, I cannot help you, Chazz. You cannot help me. But the Captain Saver put the rest to it. These are the people who always fly in their capes. They come in and swoop down, and they want to save the world. They have all the answers. They think they know everything, and they know that they're popping more pills than you and I and everybody put together, but they're trying to save the world. And so therefore, they're not looking at their own mental issues. So they want to fly all over the city and hover down and see someone in distress and fly down and help them. And you know it.
Yes, you said a handful. I forgot to mention we did have a comment. I know you touched on it. I forgot to touch on it. Sister Sharon said, "Hey, fam, we appreciate you for logging in as well." But yeah, I'll let you have that. That is a handful that you said there, brother.
It really is, Chaz. It really is. This is our last point, so we have some time to unwind. But talk about this for a second, and I'll dive in because we still have about maybe 10 minutes. So at least we're done with this mental health a whole month. And if none of the things we said now, Chaz, does not help any of us, then so be it. So be it.
Letter L. Try to be a help instead of a hindrance with those that may struggle with mental issues. I've talked about this earlier, and I'll just say it one last time. Quit talking about people when they're hurting, when they're in pain, when they're lacking. Quit telling people's business. Quit going around gossiping about them. Even though the person may have some messed up issues, so what? Quit trying to always tear. They've already got enough people that's tearing them down. You don't need to be the next one to add on to it. And when you see that they need help, try to be their comforter. And listen, I keep saying this. Keep it between you and them. Don't tell your kids. Don't tell your son. Don't tell your cousin. Don't tell your uncle. Keep it between you and them and build a relationship with them and check on them. Say, hey, brother, I remember we talked last week. You still dealing with that? And if they are, give them more encouragement. Don't just, talk about it once and then leave it alone. You got to keep coming back, brother, because I'm pretty sure when you go back to them, the problems are probably a little bit bigger than when it was before. So keep making sure that they're okay.
Yeah, and I want to add to that because I want to just be blunt, okay? I want to be frank because a lot of people in my family, they're messy, man. I'm going to just tell it like it is. I have a lot of people in my family that's messy. They thrive on mess. They thrive on jive. They thrive on gossip. They thrive on nonsense. They live lurking on everyone they can take advantage of. These are the people that we have become. So instead of being a help, we've become a hindrance. Because instead of me telling you or checking on you, saying, yeah, Chaz, you still okay with that situation? And you go, no, John, I'm still dealing with that. I'm going to give you some advice that's far-fetched. I'm going to tell you something that I saw on social media that has nothing to do with what you're dealing with. I'm going to tell you to try something that I know is not going to work. But because I want to be this guru, see, because I want to be this spiritual giant, you see, I want to be this spiritual king, you see. So I must tell you something to do. And therefore, maybe if you're struggling and you're really trying to get help, you're going to go do what I say because you trust me, see. You really think what I say is important to you. And so instead of me being honest and saying, no, I'm not going to give you that, everybody and their mama, guys, they have something to say. And this is why I'm telling you now, Chaz, many of us are not serious. We're not serious about life. We're not serious about death. We're not serious about ourselves. We're not serious about growing. We are little children in a body that has a lot of years because I've always thought this way. The older we get, the more wiser we should be, only because we've been through life. And as they say, been there and done that. But the question is, okay, been there, done that. What have we learned from doing that? Not you know what thing. We haven't learned a whole lot about what been there, done that. We always brag to people how we have done things in life, but we never tell people with mental issues, how do we get over this hurdle whereby this person can feel a sense of security, you see? And that's why I'm telling you, and I'll say this until the cows come home. Many of us are people who are so sick that we can't take these kinds of discussions and use them to our advantage, you see. We don't want to hear this, Chaz, because we think we're grown. We think through life and nobody can tell us anything. And that's why your medicine cabinet has so many pills in it. You can open up another store right next to CVS.
You're absolutely right. I cannot believe that the time has fled us. It's already got 5 more minutes. I don't know if you want to just wind down, or do you have anything else to add about that, or what do you?
Yeah, I have something to say. I want to put something on the screen, and this is an announcement. And here it is. Everybody that's watching this broadcast this Saturday at 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, I'm on another broadcast with a brother named Kevin Lewis. We're going to be doing a broadcast, but ours is actually on YouTube. It's called The Chazz and Kev Show. Subscribe to our channel. Our topic is going to be about manhood. And you think today's subject was something. we're going to blow the lid off of this because many men don't know what it means to experience manhood. So we're going to encourage brothers, you know, and we're going to take pointers from brothers and sisters who actually comment or call in, because we're going to open up our phone lines, because that's a subject that we need to talk about. Manhood. What is a man? See, a lot of us, and I'm going to say this Saturday too, many women, I'm looking for a real man, and wouldn't know a real man if he was poured in our lap. So this is why we need to talk about these issues, Chazz.
Absolutely. Sister Sharon says, amen. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that broadcast with you and Brother Kevin as well, because a lot of us in society, I do agree with you. As me being a young man, I hear from the fellas, we do have the wrong interpretation of what it is to be a man. And it's based on just silly criteria as well, I would say. It's just ridiculous. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we have another comment, Brother Sakina.
Sister Sakina says, I will join that show on Saturday. Okay.
And I never put our business out like this, but I'm going to contact Sister Sakina because she's a beautiful woman. She's a wonderful woman, and she's wanting to help us with the school.
Okay.
So she's willing to volunteer. And so, Sister Sakina, keep your phone line open, and I will text you if it's busy. And we're going to get together for next year because there's so many great things coming up for Liberation Academy. But here's a beautiful sister who says, I'm going to sacrifice for the well-being of the children that look like me. So I thank her for being interested in Liberation Academy. Chazz, it's always nice to do a broadcast with you. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week, but we're going to talk about something that's hard-hitting, something that is gut-wrenching. We're also going to start letting people know about a play that you and I are in. We have a video coming up called Shadows of Doubt. We're going to shoot. We have a play coming up called Shadows of Doubt, Whispers of Innocence. And yours truly, Big Brother Jahi and Chazz, we're both in that play. And it's a major production in San Antonio, Texas. So you'll be hearing more about that. You'll be seeing videos. You'll be seeing promos, because we want people to know that we don't just do this broadcast. Because one of the criteria for being a real man is you have to be able to do something in the community. And that's what lets us know, because every community had men who did something to maintain that community. So that's what we're going to do. But I just wanted to throw that out. Let people know. And Sister Sakina answers me by saying this. Looking forward to it. And Queen BB says yes, because this is something we have to do, Chazz. We have to educate our people. And I don't care if it's one or two. We have to be willing to share with them, because we're living in a time that it's just all out war against our women, against our men, against our children, against our lives, against our health, against our sight, against our vision, against everything, Chazz. So this is why we have to have these discussions about overcoming these mental illnesses in the African American community. I've been talking for the longest. I want to let you get a chance to fire off. We still have a few minutes. Speak what's on your heart, Chazz. And when you get done, we're out of here. But once again, y'all, I say I thank all of y'all for watching Adults Only. I don't care if you jumped on the train and the train was almost gone. At least you watched it. Go back and watch it from the beginning so you can see that me and this brother Chazz have been talking about this for a month. And this is our conclusion of overcoming mental illnesses. And then another beautiful sister says this.
Sister Barbara says, thank you for sharing.
And Sister BB says, Shem Hotep, which means go in a perfect peace, go in a certain peace that's inexplicable. And we say to her, Shem Hotep to her. So Chazz, this is your baby. When you get done with it, we're out of here. So take us away and say what's on your heart.
I want to say once again, I appreciate everybody who did log on tonight. And I appreciate you, brother, for having me on tonight as well, as always. But today was an interesting topic about mental illness. Us in the Black community deal with this on a day-to-day basis. All kind of challenges, our health, our jobs, all kind of things that mess with our brains. How can we fight this? It's not going to be done overnight. What kind of practices are you putting in your life to overcome these things? If you're having help, or if you're needing help, I should say, reach out to someone that can steer you in the right direction. And like we said earlier, brother, if you don't know where to go, email us. We can try to help you as best as we can. No, we're not perfect. No, we don't have all the solutions, but we can be that listening ear for you. We won't dog you out. We won't put your business out. And once again, this is just about mental illness. A lot of us are fighting it, and we're going to have to probably fight this until we leave this earth. And this isn't an easy subject. So once again, I appreciate you, brother, for having me on. And I think that's all I had to say for tonight.